Hello, welcome back to the Care and Conversation studio, live from the Care Show at London. We're here with another guest, Katie. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm brilliant, thank you. Lots more interviews to do today, but we'll just keep ploughing through and speaking to people.
Heat.
Yeah, it's actually. I think they might have turned the air conditioning on.
I thought that when I walked over.
I
there's
did
a bit
think.
more of a
Yeah,
breeze.
it's cooled down, and I'm not sweating profusely,
Not
which is
yet.
a good sign. So you want to tell us a bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay, so I'm Katie Costello. I'm actually here representing my own company, which is End of Life Care Support Services. So I did a talk yesterday about death and dying and talking about palliative care and what that means, what it looks like. So I'm here hopefully as well to share my training that I've created around death education, because there isn't any, truth be told. There's a lot of e-learning, there's a lot of tick box stuff, but actually what my training does is bring the human element of death and dying to training, which is basically the stuff that nobody wants to talk about, the stuff that we struggle to talk about. That's kind of what I'm here to share, and then obviously to network and connect with other people in the care industry as well.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's a huge part of social care, of elderly social care, especially, and it's not really on the agenda.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
It's not, and I personally find that I find it frustrating, but actually more heartbreaking. And I mean, I've thankfully had some incredible conversations with some people here, but it's very clear that end of life is something that, and I can feel it in yourself, you're not even maybe sure the words to use, how to say it, but it's something that we all need to talk about in a very honest and real way, and we can't shy away from it. And when I did my talk yesterday, I did say to people, spoiler alert, it's only ever going to go one way for all of us. But it's something that we're so scared of. We don't know how to broach it. And in so many people's worlds, they do some incredible work in care, but their education or their understanding or their own emotions stop them then from thinking, right, well, we've looked after somebody in this situation, then what? And this is the bit that I really want to help people with, particularly that are the staff that are in the homes, that are in the in the communities, because they need to feel empowered. They need to feel emotionally supported, and then obviously that has a huge knock-on effect on the people that they're supporting to have a better end-of-life journey and ultimately a better death.
I think it's one of these things that's difficult, isn't it? Because it's actually really difficult to get someone who's older to even just sort of talk about their health in general, and their health and when they turn 85 or 90, what they might want to do if something happens, if they go to hospital, what they want to do. Yeah, and actually just engaging someone about that is actually in itself really difficult in some situations. Well, so then to take it to that next level, it's like that on hard mode, isn't it?
But what's really interesting is I can understand your perceptions and how you're seeing it, and this is, I think, how a lot of people feel, and I see it myself where people don't want to engage because there's this element of maybe denial, or there's this element of I don't want to talk about it, it might happen, or I don't need to worry about that, I'm fine.
You're going to jinx it.
Yeah. And again, there was a guy called John Underwood who set up the Death Cafe movement. He had a famous quote, and he said, talking about sex won't make you pregnant, and talking about death won't make you die. And it's true. But what's really interesting is many people don't want to talk, but don't be surprised about how many people actually do. The problem that we have in a society is because none of us want to talk, we either for our own thoughts and feelings about death, or because we are worried that we're going to upset somebody else. But in my work, I'm actually a soul midwife, so I'm like a death doula, I'm an end-of-life companion, so I am that person that walks alongside people through their dying journey. The moment you give somebody permission to share, to feel, to speak freely, to say the D word, to talk about the fact that there will be a funeral and where do they want to die and how they feel about their faith or religious beliefs, as soon as you open up a space where people can talk, people will.
Yeah.
So we can't also assume that people don't want to talk. The problem is we assume they don't want to talk, but it's normally because we don't know how to have the conversation.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I hope to bring with my training, is that real understanding and education about what it really is to hold space for those conversations, to empower people, like I said, as individuals, to be able to say, okay, so for example, when they have somebody going into a nursing home for the first time, part of their assessment, part of their package, part of their kind of care plan that they create should involve conversations about end of life. Because
does it not? No.
Sometimes it does. But I think this is the thing. Our healthcare system, and I know I'm not going to talk about the politics of it, but our healthcare system varies, area to area. And when I say that, I mean like district and councils and stuff like that. So the policies and procedures that a lot of organisations have in place, many incredible, but they're not really succinct. That there's gaps. And I think it's gaps because of our healthcare system, but I think also it's gaps because it's training and understanding. So you'll have some people that have a really robust end-of-life plan and systems and paperwork in place, but then another organisation that maybe has never actually had the help to understand how to have the conversations. So what often happens then, in not just care homes and care agencies, but in healthcare in general, what will happen is somebody will become more poorly, and then they'll go, oh, we need the GP, we need the district nurse, we need the hospital, we need the hospice, which is great. Like, we need those people, and they're incredible. But it does also, we have that duty of care. We have that responsibility within the care industry, when the people that are walking alongside them and caring for them, to be able to hold space for them if they want to have that conversation. And this is the bit that I really want to help people with, because we've got some incredible people in our care sector. There are some incredible healthcare assistants, nurses. They just need the help to understand that they are more than capable of having the conversation. But again, when I did my talk yesterday, I spoke about this, exactly this. And I said that actually, to be able to be there for other people, what we also need to do is address our own mortality. And this is another thing that we don't do. So I've actually got a document that I've created to help people do that, to help think about the wishes, what they want, where they want to be, who they want with them, who they don't want with them, what sounds they want to hear, what they enjoy, what soothes them, what comforts them. All of those things that all of us as human beings should be more aware of. So I really
like you mentioned death doula, which I've never heard, like a birth plan then.
Yes,
for
exactly that, exactly that. So the idea of a soul midwife is, we have a midwife obviously when babies come in. A soul midwife is a midwife of the soul at the other end of life. So I'm a soul midwife, that's how I did my training, but there are death doulas. We're kind of all very similar, but our training might be slightly different. Like, my training is a bit more spiritual, but that's my faith. My work is non-denominational. But yeah, the death doula thing is exactly that idea. A birth doula will have will walk alongside you through your pregnancy, or they might go to appointments with you. They help create your plan. They talk to you about what you're scared about. They help soothe you, figure out exactly how you can bring this beautiful soul into the world, and you can feel loved and supported while you're doing this incredible thing. That's exactly what we do at the other end of life, because we should do. We put so much planning and organisation into birth, into moving house, into dating and swiping and stalking on Facebook and social media. You know, every part of our lives, we plan, we organise, we research, we make sure we've got the paperwork, we do everything. Yet it comes to death and we go, oh wait, somebody else can deal with that. I don't need to worry about it. So
where should people start then? How do you sort of go from? How do you start a conversation? What would be good advice for people, say, working in a care home that might want to find a way to start that conversation? How do you do? I guess each to their own, and
absolutely that.
You've got some base tips for people about how to get started, or is it work on yourself first? Is that
Oh God, I mean, where can I start? I could be here all day. I know we haven't got long. I think the thing is, we have to look at the reasons why we are struggling to have the conversation. And I think it takes a lot of emotional awareness and honesty. And most people that I've spoken to that have I'm so grateful. Many people have opened up and shared with me exactly their thoughts about why they struggle to have the conversations. And most of the ones I've had just yesterday are very much that they know they struggle. They don't want to face it. And of course, we all have our own experience of loss. We all have grief, bereavement, and it could be not necessarily the loss of a human, but maybe it is the death of a pet, maybe it's a loss of a marriage, maybe it's a loss of a job. Grief and loss comes in many forms, and when we have those experiences, that obviously then leads us into the next experience. We carry that. So the conversations I've had with people is the awareness of what they've gone through and then why they are now struggling to face it going forward. So I think the first place to start has to be with yourself. I think if we are wanting to hold space for people and have a conversation about death, we have to be aware of how we feel. Now, that might be a case of going to therapy, but it might be a case of sitting down with your friend and having a cup of tea. It doesn't have to be a huge journey of self-discovery. I think it takes a bit of bravery, but I think we also have to switch the mindset from assuming it's going to be a hard conversation. There is so much magic and joy in my world. There is so much beauty to be had. I learn every day. I laugh in my job. I feel joy. I feel, you know what I mean? Like, death and dying doesn't have to be a morbid experience.
I've met many people who work in palliative care, and they all love it. And they say, I know that sounds odd, but it's such a special moment to be involved with someone's life.
Totally agree.
So I
think it's that mindset shift and changing the narrative to, death and dying is this awful, scary thing. Grief is the awful, scary thing. The death and dying bit doesn't have to be. The death and dying bit can be what people need and want it to be. It can be about religion and rituals and ceremony, or it can be about science. It can just be about love and having nice music on. It can be all those things, but we need to have the conversation. So I think if we change the narrative from it's going to be really difficult and scary and I don't know what to say and they're going to get upset, to let me just have a cup of tea with this person and let me think about, maybe they want to talk about it. And also, you don't have to go in and tell them anything. You're giving somebody the opportunity to talk.
I suppose what you could do is, if you've worked on it yourself, you could talk about how you've worked on it yourself, and that might gives them the opportunity to open that conversation. Yeah.
And also, it could be as simple, like, for example, at the moment, the Pope.
Yeah.
The Pope's funeral that has been so public. Obviously, his body was there in an open coffin.
Yeah.
That's caused so many conversations. What a great starter. It could be that what you've seen on EastEnders or Hobby City or whatever film you watched last night.
Yeah.
We do have those conversations, but we often stop when it gets emotional or it stops.
Sort of death is a big part of like popular culture as well, isn't it? It's like it's everything. It's in everything, isn't it? Yeah. So.
But we go through life, understandably so. We go through life plodding along, pottering about, doing what we want to do, which is incredible. But it can change in an instant. So I'm also a funeral celebrant as well. So I'm the one that stands at the front. Celebrant.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm the person that stands at the front of the service and leads the service.
Yeah.
Now, I looked after a very young soul recently, and I did her service. There was 2 weeks from her diagnosis to her death. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Who knows where any of us will be in 2 weeks' time?
Yeah.
We need to have these conversations, because also when we do, and whether it be in care, whether it be personally, professionally, when we have these conversations, we are gifting the people in our lives the gift of knowledge. They know what we want, they know how we feel, they know what matters to us. So God forbid something happens to me in 2 weeks' time, my family know exactly how I want my send-off to be. They know what matters to me because we've had these conversations. So also then they've got the gift of knowledge. I've then got the gift of peace, knowing that when my time comes, the people around me will look after me in the way that I need and want to.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing about changing the mindset and narrative. When we're working in care, we've got to shift this from this being this awful, horrible conversation to actually we owe these people the opportunity to share, because they then know that they've had their wishes heard. They know they have the opportunity to express themselves. They know that how they feel about a particular religion or a particular ritual or something that they feel is really important to them, they know that will happen because we understand it.
Yeah.
So we've got to help each other, help people around us as well.
And I suppose if they're not ready to talk, at least you've opened the space, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't then go back there ever again. You
can take a horse to water.
Yeah.
But it's so true. So
Yeah.
if we just open up the conversation, give an opportunity, we've done what we can. If people really don't want to talk, then that's also okay.
Yeah.
But in healthcare, we've got to have more of the conversations. Healthcare, social care, all these equipment, all the incredible organisations here, whatever their niche or their expertise is, the care in general doesn't stop there. It will only ever go one way for all of us.
Yeah.
So it's that bit that we need to do a lot more of, and that's what I'm trying to champion and advocate for here today.
And the British aren't known for their emotional awareness.
Stiff upper lip and all that, but and so many other cultures and countries do death so much better than we do. It's seen as something to celebrate, because maybe the idea of the soul, there's this idea of God, heaven, or nirvana, or whatever the faith or belief might be. There's this idea that we can connect to that. And then it's the honouring of the physical body. There are so many other cultures and religions that do death better than us.
Yeah.
I do think we're getting better, slowly but surely.
Yeah.
So like I said, that's what I'm hopefully achieving this week.
It's been very interesting chatting. I have a final question.
Yeah.
Toilet roll, over or under?
Over.
It's the correct answer.
Easy. No, didn't need to think about that.
What about if you're a sandwich, what type of sandwich would you be?
Cheese.
Cheese sandwich.
Can't beat a good old cheese sandwich. Love a cheese sandwich.
Butter or marge?
With butter. Oh, butter.
Butter, yeah. Salted butter or non-salted butter?
Either. Don't mind, but got to be proper butter.
Yeah. White bread, brown bread?
White.
White bread,
You're going to have a cheese sandwich.
Just a sort of classic,
Yeah,
is that something you would have when you were 7?
Yeah, with a packet of salt and vinegar crisps and a bottle of glass Coke in a pub when I was younger. That's my childhood.
Grated cheese or slices of cheese?
Grated.
Oh, we can really get in detail on sandwiches, can't we?
Oh, again, the answers are there.
Let's doula the sandwiches. Could be your sandwich doula. It's fine.
Hey, no, food is important to me.
Yeah.
My training is actually called Dying for a Cuppa.
Yeah.
Because the idea is, obviously, like you said about being British, we all sit and have a cup of tea and biscuits or cake. I'm a real cake fiend. So actually at my stand, I've actually got tea bags and biscuits.
Nice.
Because everything's better over a cup of tea with biscuits. So
lovely. Well, thank you very much for coming and see us.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Nice to meet you, and a different conversation to have. So,
But a really valuable one.
Really
so thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Cheers. Take care.
We'll be back with you shortly.